Swinging a high drive into center field. Hits at the wall. It is gone! Casas does it again. It's gone! It's into the bullpen! This game is tied! This game is tied!
He swings and rips one to center field. It's high, it's deep, it's back, it's gone! Sale winds, he fires. Swing and a miss, strike three, it's over! The Red Sox have won the World Championship!
Heyo, welcome back to Play Tessie. It's episode 95. If you're listening on drop day, it's July 13th. This is the official podcast of the Wasabi Hall of Fame. Welcome Vaughn Grissom to the club. For those of you who don't know, the Wasabi Hall of Fame the Wasabi Challenge Hall of Fame includes myself, Sammy, Tristan Casas, and Vaughn Grissom now. Pat, we got to get you into that Hall of Fame. We got to get you doing that Wasabi Challenge soon. So we'll get on that. We'll have to get Bradfo on that. But this is also the official Red Sox podcast of WEI. Before we get going, hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. Apple, Spotify, Odyssey app. Hit the subscribe button. Rate us 5 stars. We really appreciate when you guys do that. You can check it out on YouTube as well if you like the visual. We're on the WEI page. You can search up Play Tessie, WEI, whatever. We've got the Play Tessie playlist. Hit the thumbs up on those videos. And remember to follow us on the socials at Play Tessie on both Twitter and Instagram. Trade deadline, fellas. If the Sox are going to make it for the stretch run, if they're going to get the whole distance here, they're going to have to add. And I know that people have been wondering, we've been wondering very aloud on this show, if the Red Sox will be able to add salary, if they will be able to make true additions without getting teams to pay down salary, if they'll be able to make additions without trading members of the bullpen. We keep talking, will they be able to add or will they have to trade Kenley Jansen? We were lucky that Sam Kennedy made an appearance on Nesson, and Tom Caron, bless Tom Caron for asking it. I love Tom Caron. We love Tom Caron. He's a great dude. And he asked point blank to Sam Kennedy, are you guys able to add salary? Joe, do we have that? Do we have that, the audio of TC asking that? Yeah, here we go.
Question I have is, if the right deal is available, that means you will have to take on a decent amount of salary for this year. Would this team do it?
Without question. This ownership group, John Henry and Tom Werner, Mike Gordon, the entire Fenway Sports Group partnership have proved time and time again in our 2.5 decades that resources will not be a problem when it comes to doing everything we can to be a winning championship team for the now and for the long term. It is hard. And you have years where you don't meet expectations like we've had the last 2 years. So that is something that has always been a hallmark of this organization, and resources won't be a problem. Now, can we match up on a deal that makes sense? We'll have to see. What are the next couple of weeks going to bring? We don't know, but there's a great feeling in that clubhouse. There's a great vibe in the front office. AC and Brezo are on the exact same page about what we're trying to do here. I really think the Boston Red Sox organization have an elite baseball operation right now, and it's a special time.
So I know what you guys are thinking. I know what everyone listening is thinking. Just more lip service. We heard Tom Werner say full throttle all offseason. We heard that audio over and over again. We have heard Sam Kennedy say things that have not come true. We've heard him talk about the resources the Red Sox have. We have heard Craig Breslow talk about the resources that the Red Sox have. So I understand if you hear that and you want no part of it and don't want to listen to it. However, Sam Kennedy, I don't believe, is required to make these appearances on Nesson. I know he's required to do his weekly thing on WEI, but there's nothing forcing him to say that they can add salary. And he said that they can add salary. Obviously, and Kevin Youkilis brought this up on the Nesson broadcast, the question is, how much can he add? Without question, we can add salary. Yeah, well, does that mean we can add a minimum salary? Or does that mean, like, if we want to bring in a guy who's making a prorated version of $20 million this year, we have the ability to do that? We don't know. But to me, this is a good thing. it is good that Sam Kennedy said this right now. And if it doesn't come true later, we can rip him for it later. But for now, I choose to look at this with, I would say, cautious optimism. Sammy, how are you feeling about it? I feel like I can predict what you're going to say, but go ahead and say it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to say he just talks and that we shouldn't buy into anything he says.
Pretty much. To answer your question, I feel absolutely nothing. Like you just said, Gordo, he said a lot over the offseason and none of it came true. I honestly think he doesn't know. I think he really doesn't know if they're able to add salary. He had no clue in the offseason. It sounded like he thought, and Tom Werner too, sounded like they both thought that they would add salary. And then towards the end of the offseason, they're like, actually, we're cutting salary. So, yeah, when he talks, I don't listen, really. He can say, like, we're buying. Guarantee you, 100% we're buying. Means nothing to me. He could say, we're selling, we're trading everybody. Means absolutely nothing to me. It's lip service, like you said. Yeah, I feel absolutely nothing about it.
So the thing is, when Brezo has been asked about this, he's been very like cautious with how he's talking, and I understand it because the Red Sox, they're straddling a playoff spot, and here's the matchups they have before the deadline. They've got 2 more with the Royals, they've got 3 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Rockies. So a breath, come up for air. Then you got 3 with the Yankees, and then you got 3 with the Mariners. So that is a lot of baseball against playoff teams, and the Red Sox could take a tumble in a bad way. So I understand being hesitant, but that's really like that's different. What Brezo has been doing is different than what Sam Kennedy did right there, which is, hey, if you guys are in contention and the right deal is there and you have to add salary, would you do it? And Sam Kennedy said yes, and he didn't have to. I don't know. I agree.
How does he know?
A lot of shit.
Like, do we think Sam Kennedy's talking to Craig Brezo like, hey, Craig, what are you thinking? I really want to get your thought. He doesn't care. I'm sure he wants the Red Sox to win.
Though. He knows the budget, though. Like that,
He didn't in the offseason. He was completely wrong about it. Or either he was wrong or he lied.
I think he lied.
Pick your poison. Which one's better? So now it's like, okay, either he doesn't know what he's talking about or he's lying to you. And now you have the same guy saying more stuff and you want me to believe it or feel a way about it? I feel nothing about it. Sam Kennedy is a master at PR talk. So credit to him for that. You know, he had a few mess ups in the offseason, but generally he's really good at it. He's built for that. So I feel nothing. I'll say it's better than if he said, we're not adding at all. Point blank.
Oh, no. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
The only thing I'll give him. Yeah,
so
that's it.
Sammy is full on, don't listen to a word he says. Me, I'm cautious, but I'm kind of like trying to break down my walls. Like I could be hurt again. Pat, what are you? Break the tie.
No, I just wish he didn't talk. I just wish he didn't. I wish he wouldn't, because he's like, the ownership has proved time and time again that we're blah, blah, blah. No, you fucking haven't. You haven't done anything in 2 years. What do you mean? Aside from extending Raffy because there were borderline riots at the Winter Classic, they haven't
for
done
your safety. Yeah. Extending Raffy for your safety. Yeah.
Gave Rafael Devers $313 million. But outside of you haven't done shit in 2 years. You haven't done anything. So every year we get the same thing. Oh, we're trying to win now and in the future. We're so devoted to winning. We give up everything. We give up our firstborn to win a World Series. We want so badly. And then they just sit on their fucking thumbs. Like, I just wish they wouldn't talk.
Sam Kennedy could be like, I was in Mongolia sacrificing a lamb to the god of Ra so that we could. I'm like, I don't. Wouldn't mean anything to me. I wouldn't even believe him. You didn't go to Mongolia. Freaking Sam Kennedy. You're not Mongolian. So anyway.
Can't you just predict the way this goes? They don't make an addition that's making any money, and then he gets asked about this comment, and the obvious deflection is
our additions are.
Oh, I wasn't even going to say that.
Casas. Oh, you weren't? Okay, well, I was thinking he was going to give the old. Our additions are on the injured list right now, and they're coming back. Liam Hendricks and Tristan Casas, who are additions, but they're not.
Say that too.
They're not, additions. They're already on the roster. They're part of the picture.
Does one of them play second base? Does one of them hit right-handed? Does one of them pitch? Starting pitch?
No,
But I
no,
digress. I digress.
no to all of the above. No, they do not.
No,
Liam is a relief
but
pitcher,
the
which is
spin
not a
zone is
starting. Yeah.
I sent it in the group chat. The spin zone is going to be, I'm calling it right now. If they do not substantially upgrade, they're going to say they didn't find the right deal.
That's what I was going to say. That's
was.
that right there. Because you could like ownership's position could be, yeah, we were willing to add money, but the front office just couldn't find a deal. Like that's what I've always said at the deadlines. He was like, we tried and tried and tried, but we just didn't find a deal that we liked. So we're not going to make a deal that we don't like.
I got to take this Red Sox team 2024. Please, both of you, tell me, what do they need?
A starting pitcher and a right-handed bat.
Right. Incredibly obvious. Every Red Sox fan in the world is on the same page. If you are the GM and you can't add at least a starting pitcher, because I think that's more important, you're not good at your job. I don't want to hear we didn't find the right deal. Find the right deal. Make it happen. This is your job. It doesn't fall into your lap. You know what I mean? You're not just going to get, it's not just going to, oh, here it is. Look, it showed up at our front door, the right deal. You have to make it happen. So that's kind of what the final straw was for me with Chaim Bloom, who, by the way, I was very, very patient with. I liked a lot of what he was doing, but we couldn't find the right deal. Why, man? Why could you not find the right deal? There were glaring needs on the team in 2023. This year, there are glaring needs, and they could not be more obvious. And last episode, or 2 episodes ago, we went over all the options for starting pitchers, and that was kind of like when the Rangers were teetering on selling, and now it's even more options. Like Pat spoke about Lorenzen and maybe Evaldi if he waives his no-trade clause, and Gray and blah, 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 and that's on top of all the other guys. So there's more than enough arms available. Right-handed bat is a little more challenging to find. I'll give you that. But you cannot give this fan base and that clubhouse especially, you cannot give them that excuse again. And Craig Breslow is under a hell of a lot of pressure.
Sammy, I want to go back to the point you said about like needing to find the right trade. Because one thing that this Red Sox front office has certainly been nervous to do is make a trade that in any way, shape, or form could bite them. Like they've basically only pulled the trigger on trades that are obvious wins. Like, for instance, they got overwhelmed for Christian Vasquez, and look what you have now. You got Wilyer Abreu, obvious win, and like whatever Emmanuel Valdez gives you is just a bonus. I'll give you another example. This wasn't even a Heim one. The Tyler O'Neill thing, like I don't know how that trade fell into their lap. They gave away Nick Robertson and a guy who they basically some toss-in. Great trade. The trade that wasn't like that was obviously the Verdugo one. That wasn't like this fell in our lap. Like that was a good value trade, but that took some balls. Whatever trade they make is going to take some balls. And I think it's going to be trading for, like, go look at what Nick Yorke has been doing in AAA. He hit 2 home runs. What day is it today? Whatever. It was Wednesday that he hit the 2 home runs. Nick Yorke through 27 AAA games, 981 OPS.
Oh my God.
You've got a
dude, there
depth.
you go.
You've got a depth of middle infield options all through in all levels of the system. We talk about guys like you could even go to the recent draft picks, like high school, Nazan Zanatello, Antonio Anderson, like 2 of their top draft picks were middle infielders. And you could go to the top levels of the system, like guys coming up to the majors. It's Valdez, it's Hamilton, it's Meyer, it's Yorke. You could just, Campbell. It's Mydroth, it's Campbell, it's over and over and over again. So I've got a who says no. Pat in the chat says he's got to take. So I want to let him do it before I propose a couple of who says no's to you guys. But Pat, what do you got?
So my biggest thing that I want to see this deadline is once Chaim was kind of given the boot, there was a lot of stories that started to trickle in about him not kind of having that like confidence or that cutthroat mentality to pull the trigger on deals. I think it was Cotillo who wrote an article about how he literally lost sleep over the Story contract because he was worried that it wouldn't pan out. We're going to find out this deadline if that was just cover talk for ownership having a budget or if Chaim genuinely did not have that instinct. Because if Craig doesn't make a move and does not address those 2, you have to address those 2 needs. If those are not addressed, 100% a budget. That's what it is. It's ownership coming down. Because the chances that you hire 2 guys who both lack that instinct, which Craig showed he had in the offseason, But the chances that you hire a guy who's going to do the same shit at the deadline, slim to none.
Pat, the budget thing, I think, it's been reported. There's definitely been a budget. And I think what we're going to learn this deadline is they've been saying, and Kennedy said it as recently as that Nesson interview that we played, was this ownership group will spend for a championship contender. Like when we are ready to like actually push in, like they will spend. It's just that they're not going to spend when they're not in that position. So right now the Red Sox are showing that they are good enough to be in that position if supplemented. If they don't supplement it, then I know who I'll be blaming. But I've got a couple of who says no's for you guys today, based mainly on Nick Yorke. Because to me, I think that if the Red Sox are going to add and they're going to get a little bit uncomfortable, it's going to be selling high on a guy who definitely struggled in Double-A, but as soon as he got promoted to Triple-A, he has been raking. This is a former first-round pick. This is not an easy guy to get rid of. And I'll start it simple. If Nick Yorke for Luis Renfroe, who, just to go over it again, year and a half of control, switch hitter, but really hits lefties. That's his thing. Hits lefties. Not a ton of power, but some. Has been stealing a lot of bases this year. He's currently on the injured list, but it's wrist inflammation. Typically those things don't take all that long, although Pat, you can tell me if I'm wrong there. But he plays a lot of positions, albeit none particularly well, but he kind of fits exactly what the Red Sox are trying to do. You could cut down on the strikeouts in the lineup, get him in there. He steals a bunch of bags, is versatile, hits lefties. Like I really think Luis Renfroe is a great fit, and with a year and a half of control, you could trade him in the offseason. But the question I have for you guys is not about the Luis Renfroe fit. We've been over that. The question is, if Nick Yorke is on the table, if the Angels said they would do Nick Yorke for Luis Renfroe, are you doing it?
Yeah. I mean, if Pat's that confident with the wrist thing, Pat's our resident doctor, so he knows better than I do. Then yeah, I mean. That's the holdup for me right now. I was all in on Renfroe, and we know that the Red Sox also like Renfroe. So, yeah, I think Nick Yorke, I think that's a fair price. The issue I have, and take this with a grain of salt because it's John Heyman. John Heyman today, where's the quote? He said that the Angels' phone has been ringing off the hook with interest for Luis Renfroe, which to me sounds like you're going to have to overpay a little bit. So Nick Yorke might not even be enough to get him if that's what happens. But if it is, then yeah, why not? That's fine. You're trading from not a surplus, but you have a lot of good, talented young guys. Probably Story's going to be your second baseman next year. You also have Grissom, Hamilton, Valdez, Myers coming up. Sedon can play second. So you have a lot of guys you can fill in. It's not like you're leaving a big hole in your organization if you lose Nick Yorke as well as he's been playing. So yes, I would do that trade. It's just that the price of Renfroe right now, Renfroe is it's kind of up in the air with the wrist and with the multiple suitors. So we'll see. But yeah, I like the idea.
Would you add to it? Like, is there another level you would go to push it over the line? Because
like,
personally,
what's the
for me,
walk away point?
Like, yeah, it's hard because it's not like a dollar value that we can quantify, but like just in general, if they said you got to add another top 20 prospect to it, like we'll just say, yeah, I was going to say Lugo. Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say,
would you do Yorke and Lugo for him?
Your best Rule 5 eligible guy. I think that's where I would draw the line.
Okay. Yeah, I would do that. Would you guys trade, and this is if the price goes up, would you trade Christian Campbell for him?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. I feel like that's too much because that's a kid who could be a top 100 prospect like very soon, top 50 even. We'll see. But to bring it back to your trade idea, Gordo. Yeah, I guess I would do if Yorke gets Renfroe. I think you have to do that. I like Pat's idea as well as adding a Rule 5 guy, like maybe even 2 if that's what it takes. But I wouldn't go nuts. I mean, Renfroe, the fit is so good. Like, plays all around the field. Like,
if you're not making the trade, if you're not trading these Rule 5 guys, you're either trading them in the offseason when teams know you're desperate to trade them because they're going to get snatched from the Rule 5 if you don't add them to the 40-man, or you trade them now when there is a it's not even a window anymore. Alex Cora says it's a door. All right.
The door,
It's
baby.
a door to walk through. And like the needs are so clear. And this is how you get one. Let's
By the way,
take
Gordo,
it up a notch.
how smart of a rule is the Rule 5 draft? That is such a good rule
Yeah.
by Major League Baseball, like to get guys like opportunity. I think that's genius. And nobody ever talks about that. Like it's, and I'll give the really basic description. So it's like if you're in the minors for 5 years and you're not brought up to the major league level, I believe you're not on a 40-man roster. I believe
it's different for college versus high school draft picks. I know that. So the timing is different.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're not put on the 40-man roster in a certain amount of time, I believe it's 5 years. It's very complicated. Then you like teams have an opportunity to take you in the draft, but the caveat to that is you have to be put on the major league roster, and it's just a great way to like speed up the process. Guys don't get stashed. I feel like I crap on Major League Baseball the way they operate a lot. So tip of the cap to them for that rule. It's an older rule, but I think it's really smart.
All right. I want to take it up a notch. I want to turn up the heat. We say that the Red Sox need a right-handed bat and a starting pitcher. And I gave you a baseline trade for a right-handed bat. We'll bring it back to Yorke for Renfroe. What do you have to add into that? And this ties it all back to the Sam Kennedy thing. Willing to add salary? Tyler Anderson is making $13 million this year, and he will be making $13 million next year. If ownership is willing to take that salary on, and that's a big if, but if they are, and they're not going to make the Angels pay it down, what are you going to need to add to Nick Yorke? So right here, I've got Nick Yorke, Wickelman Gonzalez, Alan Castro, and we'll say another lower level guy, maybe an Antonio Anderson, who's like a high draft pick, higher ceiling, but we really don't know what he's going to be yet. Would you trade like a package of 4 legit dudes to get those two guys? Both of them have 2 years of control. Tyler Anderson is making money. Renfroe really is not.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not crazy about Anderson. He's a left-hander, so he'd be pitching at Fenway, and he's a left-hander. That's already difficult to do with the Green Monster. He doesn't strike a lot of guys out. Don't love that. Last year, his ERA was 5.43, and his FIP wasn't too far off, so it's not like he got screwed or anything. I'm not really buying this breakout, and for reference, here's a stat for you. His ERA is almost 2 runs lower than his FIP. So I'm just not buying Tyler Anderson. He's 34 years old as well. He makes a lot of money. It's going to cost money and prospects. I like the idea of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone and getting that lefty masher and a starting pitcher in the same trade, but I don't think Tyler Anderson's the guy. I'm like, and I don't want him next year either when he's 35. Just throws junk. I'm just not into the Tyler Anderson idea.
Pat, what about you?
No, I think I'd rather break it up. I think I'd rather get Renfroe straight. And if you're going to add salary like that, I think you're better off going for like a Heaney. That's a guy who has a little bit more better of a track record, less money, not on the books next year. Will probably cost about the same if I had to imagine.
See,
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like there are better options. Like if you're willing to take on an extra year of control, like I'd rather Zach Eflin a million times. I don't know if the Rangers are going to sell. If they do, like I'd rather Evaldi. I like the idea of taking on an expiring deal, unless it's like a really good dude who you can build around. But a lot of these guys are not necessarily building block guys. Like Tyler Anderson, even though he's controllable for another year, he's not a building block guy because of the age. But yeah, I like the idea of an expiring guy, and then I hate to do it, like obviously because I have no faith in ownership to sign a big free agent. But again, I'll go back to the fact that Corbin Burns and Max Fried are both free agents. If you take on a guy with control, and with Lucas Giolito coming back next year, it's unlikely they're going to pay another big money starter there. So you're kind of tipping. I don't want to say tipping your hand because that's really not the problem. It's that you're investing so much money into the rotation. Are they really going to invest more, especially when they've seen the pitching infrastructure and the type of development it can do and what it can do for guys and what it turned Houck into. They'll believe in Whitlock again. Like there's a lot that can happen if you take on, or a lot of opportunities that you'd be missing by taking on reasonable money for next year. So if you're going to do it, I would rather it be a guy like Eflin, who I'm a little bit more into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the concept of your trade. It's just the guy coming back. I don't love Tyler Anderson. Did he start tonight on Thursday as we are recording, because the Angels are losing 11-0. Hope that wasn't him.
Oh God,
no, it wasn't. It was not him.
No,
that would have been bad timing for that trade idea.
Who pitched? It was. Oh God, I've never heard of this man.
Oh yes, of course,
it's a rookie. Yeah,
Kochano something. Kochanowicz and Rosenberg.
Rosenberg. I'm not really into any of the Angel starters. Just looking at them, they don't do a great job developing these guys, so it's really hard to identify who has potential, who doesn't. Like Patrick Sandoval, that's a guy I like, but he's on the 60-day IL. So I like Reed Detmers, talented pitcher.
Love Detmers.
But he's in AAA right now because he wasn't hacking it. That's a guy I'd like to add in the offseason. So,
yeah.
Rengifo, let's get him from the Angels. Pitching, look elsewhere. No thanks, Angels. Sorry.
Just quick question before we transition to enough said. If you had to take one, a starting pitcher or a right-handed bat, which are you taking?
Oh, pitcher. You have to take the pitcher. If you don't get a starting pitcher, you're cooked because your arms are going to run out of gas and then you have no shot. Yeah, I mean,
Pat,
go ahead.
Pat, you agree?
Oh, yeah. No, you got to go pitcher.
I agree. 100%. That's the most important thing. So, in my opinion, get the pitcher first. Get the pitcher first, and then see if you can push something over the top before the deadline with the right-handed bat. But make sure you get that pitcher. It's important.
Yeah. And with the right-handed bat, like you have, like Devers can hit lefties. You have Romy Gonzalez, who's kind of been solid. Like there's still guys who can hit. Ref Snyder, O'Neill. You can bring up Yorke.
Costas can hit the lefties. Like
like you could piece it. You could piece it together better than like, all right, Cooper Criswell, we need you to go 7 innings today. Like it's just unrealistic. I don't know. I think it's close to impossible to win long term without another starting pitcher this year. Long term meaning throughout the rest of the year. Yeah,
and I think the other thing too is like waiting in the wings. You have Vaughn Grissom, who's a righty, who at least that's kind of like that lottery ticket this year. Like maybe this guy develops, maybe he can hit around lefties a little bit. You don't have that on the starting pitching side. There's no one really there where you're like, okay, maybe this guy can come in and take over the 5th starter role.
Right.
Chris Cole's going to give you 4 innings. Richard Fitz, he's not going to come up and be a difference maker. Like you just kind of pray that Ref Snyder, O'Neill, Devers, Casas kind of hold you over when there's a lefty on the bump, and then you make your splash on the starting pitching side because there's no one there to step into that 5-hole right now.
I agree. It's like with the bullpen, they're in a good enough spot as is, and they've got guys coming back. They're going to have Martin come back. They're going to have Hendricks come back. Like, I don't think they need to add to the bullpen. You've got a depth there. With the bats, as you said, there's a lot of guys. With the rotation, really nothing else coming back. But I want to transition us to enough sec because we do have to get out of here in a sec. I'll go first for this one. We'll try to be quick with it. But I was at I played in a softball game on Monday, and I saw someone I knew from high school, or he's like a few years younger than me, and he played college ball, and he went to private school for baseball. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I was talking to him. And he was like, "Do you know Ben Rice?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I fucking hate that guy." And he's like, "Oh, he was my catcher in high school." I was like, "Bro."
You're like, I don't give a shit, dude. He sucks.
He was like, I was just talking to him on the phone, and granted, this was like literally the day after Sunday Night Baseball. I was like, yeah, what? I was like, was he fucking happy about his 3-homer game? He's like, yeah, he was pretty jacked up about it. He said the money's way better in the majors than the minors. I was like, well, yeah, bro, he's making fucking $750,000 now. He's fucking made it big, and he's whatever. But fuck, I didn't change my tone.
You could have asked him if he was actually a hall monitor.
Oh, yes, this was after that too. I literally was like, we spent like 10-15 minutes on the show shitting all over this guy. I should have asked if he was a hall monitor.
You're like dapping your friend up. Oh God, he went to Nobles.
I think I gotta look it up.
Oh,
But go. Someone else tell their enough said. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you on it.
Sam, you can go.
okay. This is gonna be an unpopular opinion that I have, which I have quite a few, I think. Team USA basketball. What the fuck are we doing? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at Team USA. They're sick." Yeah, they have 90% of the best players in the world. And I see people on like social media saying they're debating Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Who fits better on the team? Who fits better on the team? You have LeBron James, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis. I could go on and on and on. Kevin Durant. I could just keep Anthony Edwards, who's apparently the number one guy on the team, according to him. Like, it's the dumbest thing. Why is this exciting to anybody? They're playing like dentists and mailmen, and they're the greatest basketball players in the world, and they're all on the same team, and people are like, "Oh, look at Team USA. This is sick." Yeah, they're playing nobodies. I don't get how people get into it. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. 90%, like I said, of the best basketball players in the world are from the same country, and people be like, "Well, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was on Team Canada." Yeah, and his other 4 teammates that he's on the floor with probably wouldn't make it in the G League. I just think it's the dumbest sporting event of all time. It's not competitive at all. And if it is competitive, it's just a complete embarrassment for Team USA. So I don't get the hype. I think it's the lamest thing ever. Seeing people get fired up about it one way or another, like excited for the team, or I don't know about the fit. Like, what are we doing? This is such a joke.
Is Noble and Greenough? Is that Noble?
Yep, that's it.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
Nobles,
So that was where he went to high school.
Dude, that is the ultimate yuppie school. like if you're a good athlete and a yuppie, that is the peak, the pinnacle of yuppie. And it's so fitting that Ben Rice, who we all described as a total yuppie last episode. By the way, do people outside of New England say yuppie?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So only Ben Rice is going to know what this means if he hears it. That'd be really funny if his Yankees teammates were like, "What does this mean?" And he had to explain it to all of them. But anyway, yeah. Gordo, if you guys have a response to my Team USA basketball, we're jumping all over the place. It's enough said. I just think Team USA basketball is the stupidest thing in the world. Olympic basketball, I should say, is just so unbelievably dumb.
Pat, you got?
I am ready to declare. I think Paul Skeens is a top 10, and I would argue 7 pitcher in baseball.
Could he win the Cy Young?
Yes.
I think.
I mean, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting close. I mean, it's hard to deny what he's doing. He should. Here's a Skeens take to piggyback off of this, and I'm positive you guys are going to agree with this. He should definitely start the All-Star game.
Yep.
Like if the Major League Baseball marketing team has an ounce of brain power working, they'll make him the starting pitcher. That's how you market your young star. Not, this guy's ERA is a little bit lower. He pitched like nobody knows who he is. But like, dude, put your young superstar in the spotlight. That's where he should be. It's the All-Star game. It is not a meritocracy. It's a popularity contest. Put him on the mound to start the game, and then put Mason Miller on the mound for the American League too. Yep. That's marketing right there. Market your sport, market your stars, make it fun.
If you want to capitalize on viewership and marketing, you get Paul Skeens' ass on the mound and you fucking pan over to Livy Dunn behind the dugout.
And she's clapping like, "Yay, Paul!
Yep. That's how you get your viewership.
Yay, Paul!
Yay, Paul!" And he turns to her. He's like, "Respect the troops." And she's like, "Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you, Paul."
No, I look at it like earning an All-Star game start is like a big achievement, but I have to get past that because really the league does need to do it. They have the best All-Star game, and to put it on full display, you have to have the most electric arms out there. This is how you market it. It pains me to do it because I want it to be like the mid-season Cy Young Award, but that's just not what it should be for the good of the game. So
Yeah, and then you always have guys who pitch 2 days before the All-Star game. There are automatic scratches. Like Sale, I don't even know if we'll be able to pitch the All-Star game.
I think he might be out, Pat. I think you're right.
Yeah. So like that's
Wait,
what I mean.
why?
Like
Oh, just timing?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I thought I got hurt. I was like, no, not our guy. I want Sale to do well. Anyway, yeah, that's I think schemes. I'm glad we all agree, Gordo. Because Gordo, I know you were kind of
I'm on the
so-so
fence,
on
but
that idea.
I have to agree. I have to.
For the
I
sake
like-
of the
I don't-
game.
Yes,
Yeah, it's good for
it's-
the sport.
It's not what I would want the All-Star game start to be, but it's what the game needs it to be.
I agree. I'd rather it be a meritocracy, but it's just not.
Well, anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in. That was episode 95 of Play Tessie. Before you tune out, remember, hit that subscribe button, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, or the Odyssey app. Hit the subscribe button, rate us 5 stars. Go to the YouTube channel. It's the WEI channel, but we've got our own playlist there. You can see all of our videos there. Hit the thumbs up there. And remember, follow us on the socials at Play Tessie on both Twitter and Instagram. Just a couple more days before the All-Star break, but we will continue to be there for you guys and putting Red Sox content in your ears all the time. But till next time, for Sammy, for Pat, for Joe producing, it's Gordo here. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.